earrings today using our, well, most of it's from my stash. One pair we're going to use some little copper strips that I have cut. And the other pair we're going to use some cup chain and the ball chain that we got from Randy Brown from Thunder Horse Descendants. So I think these are going to be both going to be fun. And I hope you folks enjoy making them with me. But so I would hope that you're going to enjoy making these with me. I think they're going to be fun. The one pair is not difficult at all. Good morning, Nita. How are you doing today? And then we're going to be, like I say, make some, the ones with the cup chain and ball chain that we got from Randy Brown. And that one's going to be a little bit more difficult. We're going to have to play with our chain lengths, but I think they're going to be fun. So let's turn down. I'm going to make you guys dizzy here for a second as we turn the camera around, and we'll get started on these. Okay. Turn this just a touch more here. Where's my hook? There it is. If I get it just right, I can see your comments. So it's be nice to do that. My tripod is not the best in the world. I need to get a new one. Okay, here we are. And I'm going to tighten it up a little bit, I think. Oops, that's a little bit too much. It's really touchy when it's on live. So anyway, these are our items we're going to use for our first pair of earrings. I have a couple of ball head pins, some crystals, some bead caps, some posts. Now I've got both of the kinds of post backs, but I prefer the ones with the plastic on them. I think they're a little easier to handle for most people, so we'll put those aside. I have some jump rings. Not sure these are going to be big enough. We will find out as we go along. A couple of leaf charms and 2 pieces of copper wire. I want to say wire, but it's not wire, obviously, because it's a patterned strip of wire, and it's really this one is, well, actually, let's see. I will get one of the long strips, and I can show you what they come like. Now, I've had these for numerous years. See, there's a big piece here. And I think I got them from Candy Cooper. But it's blank on the back and just long on the front like that. And then I cut them. And because you cut them, you have to sand them. And I should have done that on camera, but I'd already done it. And then I punched a hole on either side using my vintage hole punch. Very simple. Just put them in, snap it closed. So there is our pieces we're going to use. Now, when you cut that that copper length there, you do have to use some heavy duty cutters. I have some right here, and it usually won't cut all the way through. What I do is cut it down as far as it'll let me. Then I take it in half and crank it back and forth until it breaks. And then you have to sand them. Well, not sand, well, file, I should say. And I use my little vintage file and filed the ends down because otherwise they're pretty sharp. So what we're going to do with these earrings, so we're going to take our earwire, And there's our little post I'm going to use. We're going to take these two crystals, put a bead cap on the smaller one as they go on, and then we're going to hook it here to this bottom hole I punched. Then we're going to take, and I think these might be too small, so this is where I'm at the too small stage. We're going to hook these copper piece to our post, and then we're going to take another jump ring, and we're going to hook the leaf here in front. So let's get going doing that. Now, like I say, this is where I'm like, is that going to work? I'm not sure it will. So as far as the jump rings being big enough, but I take my wires and I just rub my thumb up them to make sure they're good and straight. Then we're going to put the crystals on our wire, just like so. And now you have a choice. Do you want to hardwire them onto your little copper piece, or do you want to jump ring them? I did put another jump ring here in case I decide I want to jump ring them. We'll see as we go along. So then I take my pliers, put them here at the top of my crystals, do a 90-degree turn. Then I'm going to get my stepped bell making pliers out. I like the stepped bell making pliers to make my loops because it makes them pretty consistent. So up and over, drop, bring her down and around, and lollipop shaper. That was almost a little bit too much there, but that's all right. So now here's my choice. Am I going to string it right onto it, or am I going to use one of these jump rings and hook it on? Let's see how easy it is to get it onto the copper. Now, because I'm going to put it on the copper, I need to open this up just a hair's breadth, so a gap, and we'll feed the copper onto here. It looks like it's going to hang all right, so we'll just hook it straight to it. Grab your wires where they come together there. Make sure you get both. Then take a second pair of pliers, or you can do it by hand if you prefer, and just wrap this baby up. Now try and remember when you're wrapping, and then especially when you're tucking your wire in, that you've got a crystal there on the end and you want to be careful with that. You don't want to break it. So then cut the excess off. Be careful you don't cut anything extra. I have before. It's sort of heartbreaking when you've got it all done and then realize you just cut the loop in half or something like that. Let's see, get in there. So there is. Now you see how it's turned to the side here? We want to straighten that up. So we'll put our pliers in and just go along and then take it here. And I put my thumbnail here to hold it in place when I'm pulling things like this. And if it's really uncooperative, I'll put my pliers back in. So there is our little crystal hanging from the bottom. And then we're going to take the larger of our jump rings here. These are still small ones. Now this is where I say it may not work the way I want it to, because it may end up when I put the other jump ring on, it might bulge out, in which case I probably will end up having to get a bigger jump ring for here. Now this place, because it's got a pattern on one side and not on both, you want to make sure you're paying attention to your pattern when you put, oh come on babe, when you put your earring wire on. Oh come on, don't give me that much flack. Woo. Okay, apparently we want to put the earring wire on first, which is a little bit bizarre when you're doing one of these. But, okay, so this would fall this direction. pull this over in place. And let's see if I got it the right direction. I did not. See, my earring post is backwards. So that is the tricky part when you're doing things like this, is getting them the right direction, because we're doing it from front to back instead of the normal way. Okay, one of you guys stay put. Okay, we turn this around. Now, before I close it all the way, I'm going to check it better. There we go. It's fine. So then we get the jump ring and close her up. Oop. I hate that when it snaps off like that, don't you? Okay, hope I'm in camera there. Yep, okay. Now I think we've got it the right direction here. Yes, we do. So here's this piece. Now for the final piece, and make sure it doesn't just stand straight up on us, which is what I'm sort of afraid it might do, is I'm going to grab this, get my leaf on here, and then we're going to go through the jump ring. And this is looking like it might be too small to go through here, which is one of my fears, but we'll see if I can get it to behave. Oh, come back here. Another option is you can put the jump ring, put this little guy on his jump ring, and then when you put the other stuff together, you could have hooked it straight up as you were going along. So let's see how it's hanging. And it's not too bad. I'm actually pretty pleased with it. So where is your earring back? There it is. And there she is, all finished, this one. Now, of course, we do the exact same thing to get the other one done. It's no harm in being a little late. Hi, Maritza. Hi, PK. So let's do the other one for those who were a little late maybe and missed us making this first one. So we want our ball head pin, straighten her out. Small crystal, bead cap. Randy was talking about bead caps today on her morning show. So there's our bead cap. Thank you. I'm glad you guys are liking that. It's very simple, like I said. So then we're going to turn this 90 degrees. Get our bell making pliers. Now a lot of people use round nose. I like the bell making pliers because they make a consistent size when I'm making my loops. Bring her around. Make sure she's lollipopped. See if you left enough gap. It looks like I maybe did. So we'll feed our little piece of copper onto here. Hold her here where they come together. Let's get her up there just a little bit. We want both wires, but we don't want to grab the other wire twice. And we're going to wrap this up. I try to make sure that when I'm wrapping that the wrap ends in the back. I don't always succeed, but I try to do that. So then we'll clip this excess off and tuck our little wire in around our crystal. go. So there's our first part done, and as you can see, that's tipped a little back that way again. So I'm going to take my thumb, put it right here, and push this forward so she's even again. So there's our first part. Now this second one, I'm going to do how I said that you could do it if you wanted to, and that is we're going to open this little jump ring, put it on our leaf, and close it up. Then when we go to put our bigger jump ring on, we can add this to our link here. So then we'll put her through here. Okay. Now here's the tricky part, because see how that's moving down into this gap? We don't want that down there because it's going to keep our copper piece from falling in. So we move that around. And now we have our back. So we try and ascertain which direction we need it to sit so that the pattern is in the front. And I'm going to move these pliers over as far as I can so that I'm not creating so I'm getting this so it will go into here, and the copper is coming this direction just like the little jump ring did a minute ago. We want it over there as much as we can get it so that our jump ring can come in here easily. And it doesn't want to do so. Come on, baby. And this is that instance where we're going to have to try and put the post on first. Swing all these pieces over as far as it'll let you go. Come on, sweetheart, let's go. And then we're going to put our copper piece on. It needs to hang like this, so we need to go through here. Whoop. And that's a problem with using little ones. I like the little ones. They're much nicer as far as hang is concerned, but they're going to argue with you to a degree. And if they argue too much, then you know that that size is just not going to work, and you'll need to put a different size on. I need to try and make sure I get this going the right direction. So I don't want to have to redo it again. I think I got it. So let's see if I got it the right direction, which is sometimes easier said than done. There we go. Let's fall. And she's great. So there is earring number 2. So hope you like those. Aren't those fun? So we don't need these items, so we'll stick those aside. This is our first pair of earrings. We can stick those aside as well. Now, I didn't pay attention to this when I was putting them together, but these did fall the way I would like them to. Come on, sit straight on there. Yeah, you are. Because you see, I've got the leaves going in 2 different directions. Since they were 2-sided, that works perfectly, and then you don't have that, you don't well, it's more symmetrical when you wear them. The leaf is going in opposite directions then, so they're not going in the same direction, which is something I really don't care for, but I will if I have to, if it's my charm is one-sided or something. So there's our first pair of earrings with the little copper bar. And like I said, for those of you who are late, this copper bar comes as a big strip of metal, like so. And I had to cut it. I used my heavy-duty wire cutters. And even so, without a lot of pressure, it wouldn't have gone all the way through. So I had to get it so it had a pretty good chunk out of it and then bend it back and forth until it snapped. Then I used my Vintage file and filed the edges because they are sharp. And then I took my Vintage hole punch and punched the punch in either side where we put all of our findings to. So that is our first pair of earrings. And now we're going to switch to the second pair, which should be a lot of fun. And this is the one we're going to use the pretty pink ball chain with. And boy, this is a tiny ball chain. So what we're going to do with this, and we're going to get out our pink pink variegated cup chain. So we can put that with our ball chain. And we have some of these little cup holders, chain holders here. I have a couple of cup chain ends. We have our posts again with our backs. You can go on there. Like I say, I'm not using these little ends here, so those can go away. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the cup chain holder on the bottom of our cup chain. And these are actually a little bigger than I'd like, but they're going to work anyway. So then we'll put the cup chain onto the connector here. And then I'm going to decide what length I want it. But we're also going to put in these two babies hanging from that cup chain. That's why I want the connector. And then we're going to decide how long we want this to be, because this is our main length. And then I'm going to cut our little chain into 3 different lengths. Well, 6 total, because they're going to be 3 on either side. Because it's so tiny, I decided we'd have 3. We had plenty of room for 3. So then we'll just cut our cup chain to be a little bit smaller each time to this earring. So the first thing we need to do is think up our finished length so that we can cut our cup chain in. Now remember, one of these links of the cup chain is going to go into our holder to hold all this in place. So I also need to get my wire out. I think I had it right here. I do. I'm going to use some 20 gauge silver Softflex craft wire to make my little connection to make a little hook to go from here to here. But the first thing we want to do, like I said, is decide how long we want our earrings to be, because that is how long we need to cut our cup chain. This is a secondary cut. We're not going to worry about it right this second. We want to get this piece done. And I'm thinking I want them to be, about yay long. So I'm going to cut it about right here. You can cut them shorter or longer. It depends entirely on how long you want your chain or your earrings to be. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So right here. So that's my 2 main pieces in my earrings. I'm not going to need this anymore, so we'll put it away. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put the connectors onto our cup chain. Now, like I said, these are a little bigger than I like. I would have liked them really tight in there, but they're a little bit loose, but not too bad. So I think we'll be all right with that. So we're going to, because I want a hard surface to work with these, I'm going to put it down on my steel block. No, we're not going to hammer it. We're just going to push it together. But it's much simpler if it's on a hard surface than a soft surface. So I'm going to just take my pliers and I'm going to squish those two little nubbies that are on the sides in. Come on, baby, don't fight with me. And sometimes you have to pick it up so you can see them better. So there's that one in. I almost tightened that too tight. I almost felt like the crystal crunched, but it doesn't appear to be. The problem is you really can't see them too much once you put those links on, but that's all right. We got a whole bunch of other ones to see. So we're going to now put this other one in. Bing, come here, you. In the right spot. Okay. Bring her up so I can see what I'm doing here. See how it is a little loose in there, though? Now you just take your pliers and push. Go to the other side and push. And if you need to, you can go back and forth till you get it in here good. So there we go. Now our cup chain connectors are in place. We can do this one of two ways now. We can just start putting this together and figure out how, well, might be better to put these on here because that way you know exactly the length you want your pink chain to be. So I am going to that one was acting like it wanted to come out a little bit, but it's all right. It's not bad. So I'm going to take a little bit of soft flex wire. This is their craft wire. And we're going to use this like we would an eye pin. We're just going to make ourselves an eye pin. Well, two when we get down to it. Cut this off. I'm going to use this is one of the instances where I will use my wire straightener because it's probably got a little sharp end on the end. And this baby wants to, yeah, I felt it right there at the end there. Probably cut that little piece off because it didn't want to straighten. See how it's a little there? I'm going to cut that little bit off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make me a loop here at the end. And this loop is for this piece to hang on to here. It's just going to be like I would have an eye pin, but I'm going to make a wrapped loop as I normally would because, well, they're more secure. So up and around and down and over. Bring her over, straighten her a little bit, leave a gap, slide this thing baby on. I guess I didn't leave a big enough gap. If that's open it sort of like you would a jump ring. And just slide her on. There we go. Now I'm going to bring it back together again by pushing on the two wires. So now that they're there, I'm going to wrap this a few loops. Now this one I don't really care if it's 2 or 3 because this is the end and I don't want it atrociously long anyway. So we'll just make that sufficient. So then we're going to cut this off. And probably a few people are asking, why did I cut such a long piece of wire? Well, that's because I'm just going to use this wire for both pieces here. So now that I have that done, I'm going to check it, see how straight it is. And it is a little crooked, so I'm going to put my thumb here and nail here and bring it this way, just a hair's breadth. Now this has a front and a back. If you really look at it, you'll see there's a point right here. And this one is the faceted, the side where like a ring where it would be the flat piece up at top. So that's what I want to be in the front. So now I'm going to put this really multifaceted little crystal on here, like so. And then we're going to make a loop and put it on our crystals here. Now, as you can see, that added some length because I didn't just make an eye pin, which we could have done, and it would have been much shorter. And that might have actually been better, but I did not. So now because this has got a hook on this way, we want this loop to be going the same way as this one here. So we'll bend it right here. We'll make our loop round, come over, leave a slight gap. Now this one only needs a slight gap. Let's face it, we're going to be putting it on that tiny ring. Now at this point you need to just decide which of the front and back on this. This is the front. So when you're feeding something like this on and you've got to go front and back, go from the back when you feed it, because as it goes around that loop, it's going to turn back to the front. How that worked. Now we need to hold this again and wrap it. Now you could wrap with your fingers if you prefer. I generally don't unless the wire is soft. This wire isn't bad. It's relatively soft, so I can go to right there. I'm going to cut it off right there. Come on, Jane, don't get in my way. I don't want to cut you accidentally. Cut this off. And tuck it in. Okay. Now we have our crystal piece. And that's actually longer than I anticipated it being. So if you wanted to, that is coming out a little bit. Not bad. But it does want to put it back some. That's all right. Anyway, so if you wanted it shorter now, you could cut a couple links of your cup chain off, or you could have just decided not to put it on there in the first place. So we have our opening thing here. Let's put these to the side so they're not in our way. And we get our piece of ball chain out. Well, we want this side that's got no top on it here. So I'm going to decide on my length of ball chain now. Now remember, this is only going to go in right here, so it's going to be a little shorter here. So we're going to cut it, I think, about right here for the first one. So cut that here. Now the next one will be a little bit shorter. So maybe here. And then the third will be shorter yet. Come here, you. So it'll go about right. To cut 3 more for the other side, the same lengths. And that one went quite a bit shorter than I wanted it to, really. So maybe we'll take out, let's see here. Come on, you. I'm going to take out one of these links at least. But we can make that final decision after we get it hung up if we need to. if we want to cut some more off. So now I need to cut 3 more of each of these sections so that it matches, so we have a set for this other side. Shannon called Randy aside, huh? That works. Okay, so we're going to pull this like this, cut where we're ending here. And then we're going to do this 2 more times because we want a set for the other side, for the other earring. So we'll hold these balls and just, come on you. Run them down. Okay, right here. Over you go. And then the last one for this other earring here. Oh, come on, you. Okay, that's the 2 for this first earring. Now we'll cut the 3 for the other. And I know this is not exciting. Same length. Ooh, that one got smaller. We're going to set this one aside because I made it a little smaller than I intended to. Normal chain, I stick it in my awl, one of the top link, and then I can measure them out more easily that way. But sometimes, like with ball chain, you can't do that. You have to. Now, of course, if you do cut these a little lopsided, you can always wait until you finish putting the earring together and then trim them as you hold them up. That way you can see what they're doing. They look like little pink worms. Okay, then 1, 2. Okay, there's the 2 for this. And now we have to make the 3 long ones. Now this is going to end up being a long earring, as you can see. Longer than I actually anticipated because I didn't, when I was figuring the length, I did not figure for the wire piece here, which I should have done, but I didn't. So, c'est la vie. Like I say, if you want them shorter, you can always cut one of the cups off. And last piece. Here with you. Okay, and this little piece is extra, so let's start putting her together. So here is our cup holder. I've opened the end up so we've got plenty of room to go in. And we just start feeding them in with short. Come on, go through the little loopy place right there. Second length. Third length. Now we put the one of the cups in. Now this is easier said than done because they barely fit in here, this small size. If you had a bigger size, you definitely need another tube, a different size tube. So you just push that in, and you're going to have to bring her down because she won't automatically just drop down. So there's how we're looking so far. Now we go with the long again. The medium. Come on, go in the tube. There we go. And the small. Now you see I just put just enough room in there for all that. So now what you need to do is just push this guy down. It's easier said than done, and that one just fell out because I didn't have it closed all the way before I got it. So now we need to take my flat nose pliers and lift this up just a bit so that I can put this back in here. And now we need to push that down hard. Okay, that went down a lot easier that time. And there is the earring so far. Now this one's going to be obviously a very mobile little earring. We go all over the place. And the last part of this is to put our ear wire up, our post up here. Now you can do this. I would have some beads out because I was thinking I might want to put a bead here. Like so. But the more I think about it, I don't think I'm going to do that because it's going to make it extra long. So we'll put these beads aside. We're not going to do that. And we're just going to jump ring it, which I didn't get my jump ring out. Well, because I was thinking of doing the other way. And we'll jump ring it right straight to the ear wire. So, dropped them. And darn it, I don't see where they went to. That's not good. Well, I think I have an extra package, so I'll just find my extra package quickly. I hope. There they are. And I'll have to find those later. I'm not going to go searching for them right now. Oh, come on, you. Randy and Shannon make sure these are well sealed when they send them off to you. So we need a couple of, just two. Put these aside. Oh, I had two up there. I should have thought about that. So we'll open this baby up. Now again, this is one of those things you want to make sure you've got front and back. This is plop your ear wire, ear post on, and close it. Now, of course, you could use an ear wire. I've gotten into lately using posts, and I like the when I find these decorative ones like this. I think that's pretty. So there is our first earring done. See how I feel about the length of my strands. Those aren't bad. I like it. So there we go. There is our first earring all finished. Now you can see this tube is going to need opened somewhere. It wouldn't for the ball chain, but it does for the crystal because the crystal is much bigger. It doesn't want to go on there. So now we can do this one of two ways. Since I've already ascertained that this is the length we got this on here. We can put it all together and then put our crystal on. And I think that may be what we do this time around. So So we find our smallest ones here and our longest, medium, small. Got to make sure we've got them the right ones. This looks like this is the long, though it looks like it might be a link longer than the other one on the other side. I'm not sure, but medium. Oh, what have we got going on here? Did I cut weird ones? Small, 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 medium. Okay. So what we're going to do, of course, we're going to do exactly like we did before as far as putting the chains in. Small, medium. That looks like I have an extra link there, so I'm going to fix that so I don't have and not cut it. I'm just going to put this over on the second link. Then we put our ball chain in. As you can see why I opened that up some more, because this even so is going to fight going into here. And that's pretty common because it's just the right size. So you have to find where there we go. Have to find where a connector piece is between your cups and slide that in. And there's our last piece. One. Close our cap down. And it doesn't want to close down for me, so we'll take our flat nose pliers and we'll take it like so and bend it to start with. So we have to start it that way, then we'll finish it with my finger, pushing it down hard. So there's all our chains in, as well as and that includes our cup chain, as you can see. So now we need to put this baby together and hook it on, and then we'll hook this piece on. I'm glad you think so, Anita. I'm trying to pay attention to the comments, but it's easier said than done sometimes. So if I miss something you said, I'll apologize for that. So let's get our bend in here. Get our bell making pliers. Up and over and around. Drop it down. Bring her over. Leave a gap. That needs to turn some more. It didn't turn enough. See how I made that into a lollipop shape? So we feed this baby on here. I really like this caged crystal. It's very pretty. I got it out of one of my Jesse James mixes. I think it was In Love or With Love, one or the other. It's from the ones they put out when Sarah got married this fall. So we want 3 wraps because I'm pretty sure that's what I did here. Oh, only 2. Okay, then it's time to quit. Cut the excess. Tuck it in. See how straight we are and how much I have to straighten. Okay, that's the front. Looks pretty good. Crystal on. I love this crystal. It's so sparkly. So then again, we want to ascertain which side is front and back. This is the front. We want to match this link at the bottom, this direction. Bring her over and about. And leave that slight gap there so we can feed it on. Okay. Now we've got to make sure, again, which side's front. This is the back that my index finger's on. So since this is front on my side, we want to feed this in backwards. Remember, always feed your backwards so that when it flips, it comes back around to the right side, like that just did. So now we'll grab hold of this with our pliers, push our two wires back down together, and then we're going to wrap this one up. Now I just slid down on the base wire a little bit. Can you see that there? Don't want that, so we're going to push that back up. I'm going to get my other pliers, because sometimes I find it easier to wrap with a second pair of pliers than with my fingers. Let's see, 3 and 3. Okay, so we're going to trim this off right here. Tuck it in. And I put a pretty big trim on there, so I may take a little bit more off. Okay. Let's see how she's looking. Hanging straight. Oh, pretty much. That's great. So now we just have to put our ear wire on, and we are done with our second pair of earrings. I'm sorry for hitting my light there. This pair of pliers needs it to be oiled. So over this little loop here, and then we want to make sure that we're feeding our ear post on properly and closing her up. There we go. There's our second wire earring. Now, like I say, these are a little long. If you wanted them shorter, it's just a matter of cutting your chain shorter. This one and these. Now, or the other thing you can do is use simple loops instead of the wrapped loops I use. That would take a little bit of your space off. But there are our two pair of earrings. So I hope you enjoyed making these with me. Let's flip around and we will chat a little bit. Gonna make you a little dizzy here. And back of the, come on, flip. There we go. So anyway, let's hold this one up so we get them up so we can see how long they actually would be. See, now this is a shoulder duster. It could be shorter, but not bad. And then this is the other one, our one with the copper piece. It is shorter. As you can see, it's not even as long as the earring I'm wearing. Of course, the earring I'm wearing is pretty long. But there's the two pair. It's the ones with the cup chain and the crystal and the roll. What is this chain called? Ball chain. And then the one with the copper piece and the crystals and the little leaf. So there we go. Hope you like those, and hope it gave you a few little ideas of your own. I really like making these cup chain earrings. I don't make them very often because I like to have some differences. And when Randy showed this pink ball chain, my first thought was, yeah, I don't care for ball chain. It's not that great. But then I thought, oh, wait a second, that's pink and it'll go with my pink cup chain. Let's put them together. So there are our 2 pair of earrings, and I had a lot of fun with this. I hope you did too. Looks like we're just about at our hour. Got a couple more minutes and that's it. I am going to try and go live at least once a week until I take over for Randy on her time slot when she goes on vacation. But this is what we decided on today. And I specifically wanted to use the cup chain and the ball chain because I had mentioned when we were doing the sale, I thought, oh, this would look pretty with cup chain. So I decided, well, let's show you what it looks like. And there you go. Those are, I'm really pleased with these. Now, the one thing I don't really care for about the little holders is, see the little loop, the loop up here? It's a little wide, so this can slide back and forth. Generally, because of the weight, it doesn't, because it's, you know, it gets up there to the top, but it can if it wanted to. But heck, I've made earrings with links up there at the top, and they're going to move around too, so you just get used to it. And yeah, I like how those turned out. I think they turned out pretty good. So we will see you later. We're just, like I said, we only got a few more minutes to our hour, and I really quite like how both of these pair of earrings turned out. There again is our copper one with the crystal at the bottom and the leaf at the top. And here again is the one with the ball chain, the cup chain, and the crystals at the bottom. So we'll see you later. I hope you enjoyed this. As I said, this has been Rose from In Rose's Garden, and this is going to be the end of us. We'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.